Stop being so goddamn sensitive.
I'm not sensitive.
Welcome to the show. We did record last week, but we lost it.
I fucked it up.
It's not a big deal because we spent most of last week in the Twilight Zone anyway. The file probably stayed behind.
I felt pretty bad about it.
About losing it?
Yeah, I was scared to tell you.
Oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It's probably
happy.
divine providence.
I was happy.
Who the fuck is that? Who is that?
Yeah, who is that?
Who
the
is
fact
this?
That we got a guest, our buddy, a good one.
Good
Jay,
buddy.
what's up, man? Welcome to the show.
Guys, a never dull moment with you. Thanks for having me on the show. Looking forward to tonight's festivities.
Thank you. Joe, we also heard Joe. He's here. How are you doing tonight?
I'm just pondering the meaning of life and other existential. I'm just drinking. I'm just boozing.
Good.
Keep on cruise control. Boozing and cruising control.
Well, thank you. Somebody has to do it. So, Jay, I know you. Joe knows you. Some other people may know you a little bit. But just so we're all on the same page, tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself to us a little bit.
Hey! My name is Jason Regis Lebder.
Oh.
My friends like you guys have known me as Good Buddy or Jay. Some people also know me as Lebner. Like, my last name's Lebder, but people put an N-E-R in it. Which
I've never heard anybody call you that.
I have. How's that make you feel, Jay?
I mean, that's just is what it is. You know what I mean? Some people are retarded. They don't know how to spell.
Oh.
But
Spell?
it's okay. I mean it's...
Spell, speak,
I
whatever it may be.
don't know how hard it is to put a B and a D together, but
But if they never saw it on paper...
I gotta tell you what. Putting a B and a D together is probably one of the harder combinations to put together.
if you say so. But all sorts of nicknames these past couple years, probably 10 years in high school. I've been known as the Good Buddy, I guess.
You were in high school for 10 years.
No, I'm saying 10 years ago.
Felt like it.
Back in high school.
Back in high school, yeah.
Are you drinking too?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
What are you drinking, Jay?
Icy Light, my friend.
Nice.
Okay. Anything else we should know about you? Oh.
I don't know, man. Basic background, 10 years. My profession is sales. I've worked in and out of sales probably for many
fucking
different companies.
resume.
If I was to describe myself in one word, I would describe myself as comical.
Oh! I did not see that coming.
Wait a minute. Wait. Comical, do you mean funny? Or...
I mean, I guess I try to bring a lot of sarcasm and laughter into my life.
Okay. I didn't know if you were comical. All right. That's cool. No, I agree. Whatever.
Some people tend to say they envision me as a cartoon character, but...
Who said that?
Who the hell knows what type of comic character that would be, but...
All right.
Okay. Well, I think we have a little bit.
I think you got
base.
it. I think that was a nice snapshot.
I think we got a base. He's comical, and he was in high school 10 years ago.
How about you, John? How you doing today?
What about me? I'm doing fine.
Doing good?
Yeah.
Gave me a tour of the place.
Yeah.
This awesome application.
What are you talking about?
Let's do it.
Well, when
we were practicing to make sure the video worked, and he wanted to see the house. So I showed him basically the hallway.
What room you in today, John?
I'm in the office today. I've been
stationed
to the office.
All right.
I'm comfortable in here. This week is going to be, we're going to change it up a little bit because we really don't have anything to talk about, anything worth talking about. So we're going to talk about science today. We decided to call this segment Cool Shit in Science. Pretty straightforward. I don't know how cool it really is. I think it's cool. So
I'm excited.
I'm ready to go. Joe's excited. Jay?
Oh,
Are you ready?
I'm fucking pumped up, man. I've been waiting for this for 2 weeks.
To talk about this for 2 weeks. Well, I hope so. Are you like a science guy, Jay? Do you know anything about it?
No, not any of which whatsoever. I suck at science. I wasn't good at science.
Don't worry about it.
I'm already fucked it within the 5 minutes of this segment.
That's okay. I mean, I'm going to struggle too. I took physics for 2 weeks in 12th grade and gave it up. Joe's the science guy.
Okay. I'm looking forward to hearing what he's got to say about science tonight.
All right, Jay. Well, if I go too fast for you, you just stop me in my tracks and say, "Hey there, good buddy."
Hey, slow it down a little bit.
Well, I am a science guy. I'm very excited for this, and I apologize if I bore you to death, but
we're not going to let that happen.
Oh, okay, good. I mean, I think science is really the most fascinating thing in the world. I just can't get enough. If I could read about it, watch TV shows all day, and I usually do because I sure as shit don't work at work. So I'm usually just roving, seeing what I can find. I mean, I guess I have an above average background in science. I took a lot of physics. My BS is in electrical engineering, which I chose partly out of my fascination with physics, but partly out of spite. I wanted to go for history. My old man said, "No way, buddy. No way, boy." And I said, "Fine, fuck you. I'll do what you do." And now
look at you now, man.
Yeah, on a dead end fucking street on the cul-de-sac.
And you got the biggest fucking ceilings I've ever seen, ever.
Ever?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, all right then.
Yeah, man.
That's impressive.
So,
There ain't too many mansions around Plum, so.
What are you talking? I have a basic knowledge of electricity, magnetism, Gauss, Planck. I don't want to go on too far, but I just feel like science is almost like a religion for me in the fact that it's like something tangible, like knowledge that you could contemplate and understand, and it's like this definite thing that you could actually feel. Everything is math and dictated by law. I think it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. What do you think about that, Jay? Can you see beauty in science?
I guess so. I mean, I'm not as passionate about it as the way you're stating it, but yeah, I guess you can find that there is a lot of relativity to it.
Oh, what do you think? What do you think I mean by that? I think it's beautiful.
I guess you could say that there's a lot of things that are in our everyday lives are contributed to science.
Go on.
It's almost like a way of living. I mean, gravity. I'm on the ground.
Yeah.
I'm on the ground right now. A couple more of these beers, I might not be, but.
All right. Well, maybe we could teach you a little bit more about that today.
Okay. I understand where you're going, Jay. I understand, and I'm interested in it too, Joe. So, what we're dealing with today deals with space. You into space, Jay?
Yeah, and there's a story behind that, which I'll get to later in the show.
Tell it now.
All right, well, growing up, was involved with an interest of extraterrestrial life, if that is. My brother actually used to tease me. I have an older brother and a sister, and my brother, growing up, he was around X-Files and Close Encounter of the Third Kind, and it was always like him, like instead of like telling me ghost stories or something, he always used to fuck with me and say that there were like aliens that were going to come down from whatever planet and abduct me, and it scared the living shit out of me as a kid. And from that point on, I used to like kind of just look up and research if it was true.
So you studied it to make sure you were prepared for the invasion.
The Independence Day came around, and I was fucking scared shitless.
You mean like July 4th?
No, like Bill Pullman and Will Smith.
Oh, okay. Every July 4th, he freaks out.
Yep. That's what I call a close encounter.
All right, so what we're going to talk about this week, Joe sent me this link the other day, and I actually ran across it a few weeks ago also, so we thought we'd talk about it today. There's this guy who thinks he knows how to build a warp drive, like one of those things from Star Trek or whatever. So Joe, why don't you just lead us into this a little bit, and I'm going to try and understand it.
Yeah, so This is completely fascinating to me. Jay, do you know what a warp drive is? Did you watch Star Trek?
Sounds like something I sold at Radio Shack 10 years ago.
Oh. So you didn't watch Star Trek?
Yeah, I mean, I was more of a Star Wars guy, so
okay.
I didn't watch a lot of Star Trek.
Doesn't the Star Wars guys go fast?
They have a hyperdrive.
Oh.
They have like bigger engines or something, but the warp drive is actually what we are going to be talking about.
Was that like the designated area where they would all line up and then they disappear and a player on a plane or something?
No,
yeah,
dude.
the stars would go real fast and they would just pop in.
No, he's talking about Beam Me Up Scotty.
Oh. No. Yeah, that's not that.
You're way fucking
All right, let's just get into it.
All right, I'm sorry. That's what I get for asking him. All right, so a few months ago, this really does blow my mind that this shit is even possible. Because you hear about this kind of stuff in like science fiction all the time, and it just seems so far-fetched that it's just out of the realm of possibility. But a few months ago, a physicist named Harold White kind of stunned the whole scientific community. He had come up with this theory or theorem in the mid-90s on how to make a spacecraft that was capable of traveling long distances in a short time. Or they call it warp drive, which means faster than the speed of light. And he went away for a while, and they said it wasn't going to work, and now he's back saying, wait, I think it might work. And so why do you think we would want to go faster than the speed of light, Jay?
Productivity.
Yes. So who cares? You say. Well, a spacecraft. If we could have a spacecraft with these capabilities,
yeah, we
would need this for the human race to be able to go on any kind of expedition outside our solar system or to another star system. So basically, right in 1977, we sent up Voyager 1, and then in 78, we sent up Voyager 2. Right now, Voyager 1 has gone through past all the outer planets, past Pluto, and will be the first man-made object to enter interstellar space. And that's
a long time ago.
Right, 1977. That's
before we were even born. So it's not like you can just go. So, like, the main problem is with this traveling in space long distance is, in order to cover these distances, we need to be able to go faster, right? Because everything is far away.
Yeah, I don't think people really realize how far stuff really is. Because you always see it, like, in the big circle, you know? With, like, Pluto's out there, but it ain't. Yeah, but it's not as far as you think. So, like, if you think about that, it took, 40-some years to get out of our solar system. Well,
which is like the neighborhood.
Right. And if we want to go to the nearest star system, which is Alpha Centauri B, that's about 4-point-some light years away, which doesn't sound so bad if you can travel the speed of light.
How far is a light year again?
A light year is a distance. It's not a time, and it's how fast light can travel within 1 year.
Or one of our years, right?
Yes, right. So it's like distance over time.
Okay.
So this guy came up with this idea, and the magic behind the idea is, the idea is to have this spaceship that travels faster than light. That's what we're talking about. And the thing is, Albert Einstein, smart dude, right? He said that nothing can ever travel faster than the speed of light. So obviously you come up, then what the fuck are we talking about? And so this guy, Harold White, has come up with this idea which allows us to travel the distance in which light travels without passing the speed of light. So he still abides by Einstein's theory of general relativity.
So the math works.
The math works, which, hey, if you can finagle some bitch to get that right answer, I'd put that down any day.
Right. That's a good one. That's a good line.
So to understand it, let's take a quick look at the theory of general relativity. How's that sound, Jay?
Take a quick look at the general relativity theory. Okay.
And I know a lot of people, me saying that would probably just want to put their head down and go to sleep or turn it off or whatever. But it's very famous, right? Have you heard of this, Jay?
Yeah, I've heard it.
E equals MC squared?
Yes, sir.
Everyone's heard of it. Yet, it's truly amazing to think about these theorems that Einstein came up with over 60 years before a human was ever even in space. And then he came up with it, and then the ramifications of what it's been, and just the fucking fact that he was right. It took him a while to figure out he was right because it took us 60 years to get into space. So Einstein came out with his first theory, which was called the Theory of Special Relativity in 1905. He then started pondering how gravity came into special relativity and kind of expanded upon the idea and came out with this second, and probably the more known one, is general relativity. Although for a long time, till the mid-60s, special relativity was thought to be the one that held all the importance, and general relativity didn't really mean anything at all. But in the end, now it seems it's come forward that general relativity has held more importance in the scientific community.
Okay, what is it?
Okay, special relativity is the theory of the structure of space-time. And it's kind of an abstract concept, but it's the theory that space and time are not two separate entities or two separate measurements. It's that they are combined, one entity, forever entwined, space and time. And here's how I would illustrate this. Jay, if you want to meet up, what would I say to you? What if I just said 7 p.m., all right?
Yeah.
What would you do? Where would you go?
I would ask you where you would want to meet up.
Right. So if I said meet at Big Dogs or whatever, you would say what time? So no matter what, you have to put the time with the location.
Right.
And it's a little abstract, but at the same time, it's not. It's true even to the most simplest forms of this. And so basically, Einstein came up with this idea that space and time are the same thing. And the predictions of what he came up with, Einstein that is, relatively agree with Newton's mechanics. And I don't know how good people's backgrounds are, but Newton came up with the basic theories of forces and movement, and they called it mechanics. So Newton's had three theories, or three rules. The laws of, Laws of motion, right, John? It is number one is inertia. Is an object that is in motion will stay in motion unless another fact or another force acts upon it.
Yes, I've heard that before.
Number two is force is equal to the mass times acceleration.
Okay.
Number three is every action has an equal or opposite reaction.
I heard that before.
So Newton came up with these way before 1900, I think.
And these are rules. These are laws.
Laws that are always true. And in engineering, those are big rules, and we still follow them today. But Einstein came up with this new plan, and they're common, and everything in special relativity still allows Newton's mechanical laws to be applicable, to work within experiments, especially when the velocity of things are small compared to the speed of light. Now, the speed of light is very fast. So even the speed of sound is small compared to the speed of light. Okay? So pretty much what Newton did was all of his calculations were based upon things that occurred naturally on Earth.
Okay, so his laws apply to anything on our planet.
Right, and as far as he was concerned, probably at the time
that was it.
Yeah.
That was everything.
So, and it's amazing how fast human evolution happened and picked up, So,
right. So Einstein made it that his math works with Newton as long as he's on Earth. Whenever he leaves it, his math still works.
Yeah, but he says, well, Newton won't work
out here because there's no these forces.
Right. Well, as soon as you get into space, like we were talking about earlier, all of a sudden distances start getting a lot bigger and masses start getting a lot heavier and all these things, these numbers start to get really big and any little change can make or break an equation. So the difference between Newton's theories and special relativity is the fact, so it was like, this is where Einstein was like, okay, here's the difference. The speed of light, or c, J, in the equation, E equals mc squared, it's always held by the letter c, lowercase, is a fundamental feature of the way space and time are unified as a space-time continuum.
Wait a minute, say it again.
The speed of light is
a constant.
Is a constant, which is a fundamental feature of the way space and time are unified.
All right, so if it's constant, does that mean it doesn't slow down or doesn't speed up? Or is that later on?
Not in a vacuum. Okay. So on Earth, light can be refracted and changed in the speed of, but in a vacuum, nothing can go faster than the speed of light.
All right.
So, and I'll kind of get to it here. The special relativity is based on two hypotheses, which are contradictory to the Newtonian mechanics.
Okay.
Number one, the laws of physics are the same for all observers in a uniform motion relative to one another. Now, Einstein did a lot by who is observing this? And it's kind of philosophical in that because it's like, okay, just because one person identifies something at this spot and in this place, does that mean it's going to be exactly the same somewhere else? And that's kind of like the wavelength he was on. And so the first rule was the laws of physics are the same for all observers in a uniform motion relative to one another.
So as long as everybody's going the same speed, or
right? So it's like, so we're all on Earth, and the Earth is rotating, and then we're revolving around the sun, and we're all going the same velocity. We're all on the same planet. So all the laws of physics are the same to everyone on Earth. Since we are all observers in the uniform motion, we all follow those same laws.
Okay.
So these are kind of just like, if these are true, then the following are true. And they're almost it's kind of like self-evident, I think.
Right, so it's like dominoes, sort of like, if this makes sense, then these all have to make sense.
Right, and you have to imagine, Einstein is this guy, he's never been to space, and he's just dealing with all this shit in his head. Okay.
It's all in the abstract.
Right.
It's not observed.
So that was number one. Number two, the speed of light in the vacuum is the same for all observers, regardless of their location in space, regardless of their relative motion, and regardless of the motion of the source of the light. So now,
like you said before, light is a constant. Nothing goes faster than it. It's always going as fast as it can.
Right, and this is paramount, and this is probably one of the, if not the most important principles that all of science is built on. Okay. So,
but this is a hypothesis, though, right? It's not.
It was at the time, but now here we sit in 2013, and no one's ever proved it wrong.
Okay.
So, you never know. Because maybe next year someone finds some quirk. I did see a couple things that they're saying that maybe like these positive quarks or something, but I'll leave that. All right.
Right.
The result, so if those things are true, the following, these are the consequences of it. There can be time dilation, which means that there's an actual difference of elapsed time between two events as measured by their observers either moving relative to each other or differently situated from a gravitational masses. So basically what that is trying to say is if there's two different people on two different planets or two different comets or two different whatever, the measurement of time is relative to the velocity of the observer or of where the person is.
Okay, so if you and I are on two different rocks, and one rock is going faster than another rock, then we see time. We experience time differently.
Right. So say we're both on two different rocks going two different speeds. We're both holding an atomic clock. The mechanism is the same on both of them, but time moves differently. And this is where it starts to get kind of abstract, where we always think of time as that fucking circle with three hands on it moving around in a circle, you know?
Right.
But Einstein's saying, well, yeah, that is true here, but that doesn't mean that time is the same everywhere. And we'll touch on that again once we get to General, where I have a good example about how the time differs. So then the next thing that he came up with, the next consequence is that E equals mc squared, which is the mass-energy equivalence, which means that mass and energy are equivalent and transmutable. So energy is always equal to mass times the square root or the speed of light squared.
Squared.
Right. So, and the speed of light's always a constant. So it's always going to have that relationship.
And so it depends on how big the object is, the mass of it. And energy is this weird thing because Jay, what do you think about this? There's as much energy in a Twinkie as there is in a stick of dynamite.
I couldn't even contemplate it. I mean, that's a fucking weird. That's not weird, but it's just for me to contemplate both of them. You know, they're on two different sides. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
energy. Define energy as basic as you can, Joe.
Energy is what is broken down to help move you or help move an object. So if there is calories, right, Jay? You count calories, right?
Yeah.
That's a form. That's a form of energy. Right. So if there's 80 calories within a Twinkie, once that is broken down, it releases energy.
Right.
Okay. Dynamite could have that many calories, but the human body is not nearly as efficient as a stick of dynamite. So if you light a stick of dynamite, all that 80 calories explodes right away.
Right.
Well, the human body is taking that same amount of energy and breaking it down.
What if you got bad diarrhea?
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, that explodes like a stick of dynamite.
All right.
Like Wendy's chili is a stick of dynamite.
Oh, fuck yeah. I don't wish that on anybody.
What else? Taco Bell?
No, don't. I was talking to him. Don't ever take a protein shake at 10 o'clock in the evening and then fucking chase it with chili. Wendy's chili in particular. You're going to have a bad fucking night. And a morning.
And the morning.
Getting off the top. Good.
Do you use baby wipes when you have diarrhea?
No. Baby wipes.
Try it, man.
Baby.
You gotta try it. All right. So the last thing. So we covered that time can be different on related to speed. Mass and energy are equivalent with the constant, and the maximum speed is finite. No physical object, message, field line can travel faster than the speed of light in a vacuum.
All right.
Okay, so this is...
Say that's true.
Pretty simple shit, right? So Einstein says, all right, that's pretty good. But how does gravity fit into all this? And this really blew my mind when I was learning about it.
Yeah, this one is weird. Like, I'm with you to this point. Like, I mean, I could never, like, explain it, but I'm with you. I understand it. But here is where it starts to get, like, I have to believe it. You know, I just have to believe that it's true because somebody tells it to me.
Yeah, well, neither of us are Einstein. Jay maybe, but I just can't wrap my head around. It's hard to explain, and it's hard to understand, and it's even harder to explain. So Einstein was sitting around. He came out with special relativity in 1905. He sits around for 10 years just contemplating gravity and how it fits into his special relativity theory. And he comes out in 1915, so 10 years later, and publishes General Relativity. And what we have here is the development of his theorem of general relativity was the equivalent principle, which was that Einstein observed that the gravitational force as experienced locally while standing on a massive body, such as the Earth, is actually the same as the apparent force experienced by an observer in an accelerated frame of reference. All right,
Okay.
That's hard. That's tough language, right?
Yes, I don't get that one.
So Einstein's observation is, so we talked about the speed or the time, right?
Yeah.
That time is relative depending on your speed. And now he's saying here that the gravitational force as experienced locally while standing on the Earth,
That changes time?
is actually the
No.
same as the apparent force experienced by observer in an accelerated frame of reference. So he's saying that if the gravity stays the same no matter what this velocity is that you're standing on.
Okay, so Earth has the same gravity no matter what.
Earth does, yes.
Okay.
And it's a little bit confusing to me, but and God knows I could be wrong, but here's what I think. So the result of that observation is the following. The result is that free fall is inertial motion. And an object is in free fall is falling because that is how objects move when there is no force being exerted on them. Instead of
objects? What's in free fall?
Instead of this being due to force of gravity, as is the case in classical mechanics or Newtonian mechanics. Okay, so this is how I see it. The result is free fall. Big Bang happens, all right? It explodes and expands. And we never stop, okay? So we know that the Earth is spinning every 24 hours a day, right? Every 365 days a year, all right? But we don't think about it. The solar system is rotating too. And
everything is moving.
The galaxy is moving too. You know, and we are moving further and further around, and we are still expelling from the Big Bang, which happened 14.75 billion years ago. So what I'm thinking is that we went into this thing, and we are always moving. And it's not so. What Einstein is saying is Newton said it was gravity that made that apple fall, right?
Yeah.
Well, Einstein says no. That is just how it works. We're in free fall. It's not gravity.
So everything is falling all the time.
Right.
And gravity is the thing that keeps us in place? Fuck yeah.
Right. Well, yes. Yes. I mean, gravity exists, but without gravity, it would still be moving.
Okay, so it would just be moving. All right, I get it.
I mean, it is hard, but in the end, here's what. So
what does it mean?
He's saying that this is incompatible to the classical mechanics. It's incompatible with what Newton said. is incompatible to his first theory of relativity because he didn't take into consideration what gravity meant. So he's saying that in those theories, inertially moving objects cannot accelerate with respect to each other. But objects in free fall can. So he's saying if we're in free fall, all of a sudden you can start to accelerate. But gravity is a constant, right? Coming down. Do you understand?
Yes.
If we explode from the Big Bang and go out,
Keep going
if you're in free fall, if you drop from a plane, you're going to get faster and faster and faster and faster as you go. But if that was all based on gravity, it would be a constant. So he's basically saying that we're moving faster and faster as we go.
Okay. I get it. I like the plane analogy.
So to resolve this, so he's saying this is how it is. But how can I figure out how to make it work mathematically? So what he does is he proposed, his first thing is, well, if that's true, then space-time is curved. And whatever that means. I mean, I think most people have seen, maybe not, but it's like a graph, and they show like the Earth. And then you have, it like bends down below it. And it's basically who the fuck is moving like that? Is that you, Jay?
No, it was me.
Stop it. Sorry. So Einstein gets all these partial differential equations, and it's all this very complicated math. And this is why a lot of people thought that general relativity wasn't that important, because it was so hard to calculate and shit. But they figured out by using all kinds of series and bullshit. But, okay, so now the consequences of relativity, or general relativity. All right, clocks run more slowly in deeper gravitational wells. This is called gravitational time dilation. So we talked about time dilation before. Now he's saying, he's adding gravity to it. And he's saying that the closer you are to the center of the mass. Say the Earth has so much gravity, right? Based on the mass of the planet. And, okay, here's the example. Everyone has GPS. GPS is global positioning satellites. So what we have done is we put all kinds of satellites in the air circling the Earth. And now each satellite that they put up there has an atomic clock, which is the same atomic clock as we have on Earth. But the scientists, or whoever puts the satellite together, has to set the atomic clock on the satellite back fractional seconds to make sure that it equals up to what we have on Earth, because there's more gravity on Earth than there is in the satellite above it. So if say they forgot to do it on the satellites, that would mean that each day all the GPS systems would go 6 miles off track. Imagine just fractions of tenths of hundredths of a second would just fuck up everything.
Has it ever happened before?
Well, they kind of knew it, but they had to fix it. But yeah, so time literally goes faster in orbit than it does on Earth.
Now, let me ask you this. I sold a shitload of GPS units, okay? How many satellites do they have going up there to accommodate the millions of people that use them every day?
Well, you don't need... I don't know the number, but it's probably like 50 or something, or 100. But, I mean, you don't need more satellites based on the amount of GPS down here.
But more power to get them to everything.
And you need a grid. Basically, what they're circling in like a grid, so you cover the whole thing. So like it's looking down at Earth.
Right.
So this is a hard concept because time actually moves slower on Earth than it does above Earth. And it's not that much difference. It's just fractions of hundreds of seconds, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is rotating masses drag along the space-time continuum. And this creates a phenomenon called frame dragging.
So they drag. What do you mean they drag along?
So basically, you can think of it as like you're going through the water. Most of the time, you can't feel anything. But if you get this big ass, massive thing, it starts to drag. And what that means is the more massive the thing is, so in the middle of every galaxy in the universe is a supermassive black hole. Black holes are the most massive things in the universe. And when I say massive, that means like dense. Not like
not
big.
Huge.
Right.
Yeah.
So, if we could say, if you could go fast enough, say we got on a spaceship and we were by a black hole, and you could go fast enough to go around it and get into its orbit. You can get into its orbit. It's in the middle of every galaxy, so things orbit it all the time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So if you could get into its orbit and go around this black hole, time goes so slow that you would effectively travel through time. So you would go there, start circling this black hole, and you could come back 40 years from then, and you would have literally traveled through time.
What do you mean?
Because time goes so much slower by the black hole that you're in that time, your body ages at that time.
Okay, so
and then if you
40 years would pass, and it would be like
it would feel like 5.
Cool.
And then you could come back, and you could come back to Earth, and you would have literally traveled 35 years into the future, and you would have stayed the same, or you would have only aged 5 years.
That's cool.
All right. Third thing. The universe is expanding, and the far parts of it are moving away from us faster than the speed of light. Now, that's fucked up, because I don't know what that means. And I can't explain it to you. But
how do they know that? Is that measurable?
Well,
Obviously it's measurable.
I couldn't put everything in here because it's so, I mean, this shit's dense as fuck. But if there is something coming towards you, they have a blue phase shift. And if something's going away from you, there's a red phase shift. So the farther or the darker red it is, the further or faster it's going away from you, or the bluer is coming closer to you. So, I mean, it's that simple. And they use the telescope with like X-rays to see the color of the light. And like this is the same. Like if you could slow it down, and if you passed a fast car on the road, there would be a slight red tint as it went away from you, and there would be a slight blue tint as it came. I mean, it's just the wavelengths. It's just how science works. But I mean, that is one. Hubble is the one that came up with that. But this universe expanding is like what we talked about. It's the free fall. So it keeps on getting faster and faster and faster as you go out.
Okay.
All right. Okay, you got it?
I'm going to say yes.
You guys we are up to date with Einstein's theory of relativity. Okay.
That was
I'm sorry if I bored you, but hopefully...
That was cram session.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully people... I mean, I don't know if you like to learn or not, but I think it's fucking fascinating. But back to the warp speed drive, okay?
So, yeah. Why are we here?
So White...
No, go ahead.
What do you mean, why are we here?
No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I don't know what we're talking about. So White suggested in 1994 that if a spacecraft had a mechanism to warp space-time in front of it and behind it at the same time, it would be possible for the craft to move distances faster than light can. So basically he was saying it can move distances faster than light can, but it won't travel faster than light. How is that possible? The spacecraft could take advantage of a cosmological loophole that allows, and we've talked about this just now, how it is possible for space and time to contract and expand, and that means that time goes slower or faster around more massive things.
Okay.
So
like the space-time would change shape or move around the vessel or spaceship or whatever instead of the ship going through space-time, or
basically, yeah. So that what they did is they'll have this device that contracts the space-time in front of it, which is it's like this material, like water, and it contracts it, and then behind it, it expands the space-time. So it basically would form this
like the flux capacitor, 1.21 gigawatts.
Exactly.
Similar.
So it forms this sphere around the spaceship, and then instead of moving faster than time would move through it. So it would generate the moves. It would move space-time around the spacecraft, effectively repositioning the spacecraft further away at improved time. I mean, it's going to go fast.
So it's going to be at the same, because time and location are the same. Like, say it was, so it would be in the same place, but everything else moves. So it's like the station moves, not the train, sort of thing.
Right, and it's like, so everything is free falling, and if you can move time around it and move it forward, if you know where it's going to be, then you can like warp to it. It's almost like teleporting.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's do it.
Right, fucking right. Let's do it. Right.
Yeah.
So everyone agrees we're fucking doing it. So the problem was in 1994 that nothing exceeds the speed of light, as Einstein said, as we went over. But the space can expand and contract at any speed. However, space-time is really stiff. You know, we talk about it like we can just bend this motherfucker and have our fucking way with it. Like a drunk girl at a frat party. But
yeah,
it's not that easy. I mean, you have to, it is like a supermodel, a drunk supermodel. Yeah, it's that easy when you're dealing with a butterface. But then you have this supermodel who's hot, and now all of a sudden it's getting harder to do. And so basically, it would require a lot of fucking energy. And a lot of fucking energy is an understatement. It's like White initially calculated back in the mid-90s, like horrific amounts of energy. Like basically equal to the mass of the planet Jupiter, or 317 times of the planet Earth. It's mass.
So yeah,
this is a big...
It was a good idea, but obviously not practical.
Right, so then that's it, right? So it's cool, it sounds good, Star Trek, right? But recently, as I said, White came back, rethought the problem, and figured if he tweaked with the geometry, shifted, so if the mechanism that would be responsible for warping the space-time, and shifted it from like a belt shape and thickened it up and made it a donut kind of shape, then they could make it more practical. More practical in the sense that we're designing a fucking warp drive, you know? So it's not going to be easy. But with the new calculations, White asserts that the warp drive could be powered by the mass of less than Voyager 1, which we already talked about. So that was like Voyager 1, who's going to be the first man-made object to lead the solar system into interstellar space. And the reduction in the mass from Jupiter, a Jupiter-sized planet, to an object that weighs a mere 1,600 pounds.
So it's like a car.
And it's completely reset White's sense of plausibility. And now NASA is actually looking into it. They're doing the calculations and stuff. It's very preliminary. It's just
you say they're designing it, but it's like in a laboratory. I mean, I'm not going to get to see that. My kids aren't going to get to go to Pluto for the weekend.
I mean, it's plausible that they could do it in the next 60 years.
Yeah, but
hey, dude, I wouldn't hold my fucking breath.
Well, I hope. I mean, I'm trying to go to Mars for the weekend.
What do you think about that, Jay?
No, I mean, that's. I hope it does. I mean, I hope that they are able to. Maybe not if it's us traveling, but they do. You know what I mean? I would like to see at least a man on Mars. I know that they've got the.
Well, they're going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. You know what I mean? I just hope that they're able to. Growing up, we didn't get to see the man on the moon, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin. You always hear about it, but I feel like that in my lifetime, I'd like to experience and be like put in that situation. Everybody's in the living room watching the news as the first man steps foot on Mars.
That wouldn't happen.
I want to live that moment.
I agree with that. I mean, it's something. I'm waiting for something great to happen.
So this costs a lot of money, right, Jay? You understand that? Like billions and trillions of dollars?
Sure.
How do you feel? What do you feel about? How do you feel about that? Do you think it's worth to explore space when we have all these problems on Earth?
It depends. Is it government funded? I don't know.
Yeah, it's government funded.
So, I mean, I know that there's a lot of money coming out of my check, federal money, so why the hell not?
So you'd rather...
If they're going to do it, they might as well put it towards something worthwhile, like building a warp drive for Bill Gates to go zoom past Venus.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, though, right?
No, that for sure, man. I'd love to see that. I would love to see anything that would be a technological breakthrough in our era as far as...
You want to see it just because it's cool? Or, like, you don't... You know what I mean?
No, I'm actually interested in it. Like I said, it all goes back to, like, is there other... Are we the only people...
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second.
Are we the only people? You know what I mean? Are we alone? That would answer...
Are we the only life, you're saying? Yeah. So, we are one of 8 planets that circle our star. All right?
Right.
Our sun is one of 200 billion stars in the Milky Way, which is our galaxy.
Right.
So there's got to be 800 billion planets at least.
Let me ask you.
And
this.
wait.
Okay.
And the Milky Way is one of millions of trillions of galaxies in the universe.
Right.
In just the observable universe, we don't even know what's outside of the observable universe.
Right.
So what are you saying? You saying that it's obvious that it has to be true?
I'm not saying that. I was just asking what he thought. Do you think? What do you think?
I definitely think it, man. If the technology's there, if there's another planet, and a race of human existence. It doesn't have to be human existence. It could be whatever.
Well, it's not going to be us.
Oh, right. No, I understand that. But I'm saying if there is a higher power of race that has established that type of technology, I always ask...
What type of technology?
Any type of technology that would be able to do everything that we've been talking about traveling several of light years to come to our planet.
Why would they
care if they travel or not? I mean, I think we're just talking about now.
Yeah, in general.
Possibility of them existing.
Possibility. Yeah, I 100% feel that there is a possibility that there is other life than us. And
I think that I would be shocked if there wasn't.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
So
I don't think there is.
You don't?
No.
Why? What makes you believe that? Just
makes me believe that?
A gut feeling?
Why? You know what?
Because I don't know. I think that life is hard.
It is. It is.
It's just like...
There's no doubt.
When you say, 1 in a million chance, that's not a big deal. 1 in a billion chance, that's not a big deal when you look at these huge numbers. But, it may be. You know what I mean?
No, but it comes overwhelmingly to, 2 of 1.
Okay. All right. Well, say that there is...
it passes 1 out of something and it becomes... It's 2 times a chance, 2 colon 1. I don't know how to say that.
I always feel like maybe this is getting off topic, from reality.
Get off topic.
Get off topic. But I'm saying you go to the movie theaters. You've had movies like Contact, Independence Day, signs. It's always about an extraterrestrial type of being that always jumps from planet to planet because the resources are minimal, and they move on to try and eat up as much as they can, and then they move on. Like I don't know where like these writers get the concept, if it's related to actual modern day science and what people.
Well, I think they get that concept from ourselves. I mean, we go from place to place, country to country, region to region, depleting resources, and it only makes sense to expand that idea because eventually we're going to run out of resources here, and we're going to have to expand off planet. So if we're going to have to do that, somebody else is going to have to do that, and hopefully they don't show up before we show up.
Right. No, I get that, and you know what the funny thing is that's why like I see these movies. I'm very interested in science fiction wise. It's like Independence Day. They came for our resources, and then there's like our main resource, which is water.
What do you keep on talking about Independence Day for?
It's a good movie.
It's a movie I grew up with, man.
All right,
Will
Jay.
Smith was a movie star.
Jay, let me ask you this. So we talked about the number of stars in the universe and all that stuff
20
in the observable universe. So a lot of people or a lot of scientists believe that the universe is flat.
Flat.
Right. So the Milky Way is pretty flat. If you look at it, if you're looking up in the sky and you see that big line of white, you see the pictures.
Yeah.
That's us looking back into the center. Okay.
Right.
So it's like looking at the side of a quarter.
Okay. Yeah.
So
that's why they think it's flat.
Well, no. You can listen to the radiation of the Big Bang, and you could use Euclid and see if the angles go over 180 degrees, and if they don't, then it's flat, right? I mean, if it goes over 180 degrees, it's a sphere.
They discover new laws and theories all the time.
Right. So what the fuck? I don't know. But
I'm just saying.
A lot of scientists happen to think. A lot of them do. A lot of them don't. Happen to think that maybe the universe is infinite, or there's an infinite amount of universes. Where, how do you feel about the concept of infinity? So, like, that would mean that if there's an infinite amount of universes, that would mean that it goes on. There's so many things that there would be an infinite amount of you who would make a different decision. Say right now, you would be, up till now, you have done everything exactly the same, but you decided not to do this podcast, and that would be a different universe. And then this universe would be you doing the podcast. And then one would be you brushing your teeth after this, and one would be you don't brush your teeth. Like, so every decision or every scenario ever would mean that. How do you feel? What do you think about that?
I don't know. I feel like the universe is both horizontal and vertical. I don't know.
Why? What does that mean?
I don't know.
You're saying it's 3D.
Yeah, I just feel like that there's not just one way.
So I'm kind of asking you, how can you wrap your mind around infinity? Have you ever heard the thing where if you give one monkey an infinite amount of time on a typewriter, or you had an infinite amount of monkeys typing, they would type the complete works of Shakespeare or every book ever.
Sounds like India.
Okay. All right. My brain hurts from monkeys and mathematics. Let's talk about music or something.
All right, let's do it.
I've been following your top 10 list on Facebook here, your top 10 records or albums or whatever, and I had a few questions about some of them. I'm looking, and the oldest one you have here is Nirvana. So what's that, like 90, 91?
90, 91, yep.
So, like,
See?
That's your oldest one. Lebner wouldn't have anything after 1990. Last week, in our lost episode, he told us that if he could go back in time, since we're talking about time travel now, he could go back in time anywhere, he'd go to 1987 just so he could see some live music.
Yeah, who'd you want to see? Poison?
Dude, yeah, absolutely. Out of that era, there are so many bands I would love to pay a ticket to go see. And they were all. And they
you
were
can
all
travel through time, but he's still buying a ticket.
Yeah, dude, they were going on all at the same time, man. It would have been a fucking wild time to live.
Do you think?
Wow.
Do you like that because you think it like the party scene was cool? Or
I think the whole overall experience, man. It would have been just it would have been an experience in itself.
How do you picture it? So say you went back in time, and so basically this is your dream.
So, yeah, you get off the bus in 1987. What do you see?
I see fucking a bunch of Joe Schmoes. You have the mullets, you have the cut-off T-shirts, you have the paps, you have every type of person that you could imagine wanting to just get. It was
Okay, pause.
That
So
sounds
you
like
get off the bus
today.
and you're fucking at Dig Dogs. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the music. You haven't even mentioned a girl.
Okay, I'll just clarify. The year would be 1987. I would clarify my love for that era and the 80s. Growing up as a kid, I was a baby brother to a brother and a sister who both teenagers growing up in the 80s.
So you just liked whatever they liked and didn't
Well, I
have
mean,
an
it's just
original
what
thought.
it was just what I was always around. So
I agree with Jay.
I knew no different than what I heard growing up as a kid. Like my brother graduated in 1989.
All right, so you're going back in time. Can we stick on this subject for a second?
Yeah, I'm just trying to clarify. Like,
What do you
We gotta
clarify? Where are you going? So you have this one night. You are you, okay?
Yeah.
And you go back in time,
Yeah.
and you have this one night. So you get off. You see these people with mullets and paps and cut off T-shirts. All right.
They're
So
all
now
going
you're
to the
walking.
concert.
Who'd you bring with you? Do you have a girl with you? Do you find a girl? This is like your dream. What happens? What happens next? Who are you going to see? Where are you? An arena?
I'd be a teenager, so I wouldn't be there with a girl. I'd be going.
No, dude. You're you now.
Now, yeah. I mean, I would be there with my girl.
No, you don't have to bring your girl. It's a dream, dude. You can bring whoever you want.
Whoever I want.
Or you can find someone there.
I would go solo.
I would go solo too, man.
So this is like Hot Tub Time Machine. You ever see that movie? I know you have.
I would absolutely want no girl, no ties.
All
whatsoever.
right. So now you're back by yourself.
Yeah.
You're you. You know everything you know now. You know you're going to be there for one night. You get off the bus. You see all these people. Where are you? An arena? A club?
No, I mean, we could be at, I would say the best atmosphere for that type of concert would be like Starlight or something. It's fucking 10.
Dude, you could be in Rome. You could be wherever you want.
I thought you were going to Southern California. To see
Yeah,
Bon
okay,
Jovi.
all right. So Southern California.
So you're in San Diego.
I would be on a beach, hammered drunk, man. It would be a big-ass stage somewhere. I mean, I'm just saying the setting would be perfect.
Keep going.
The setting would be perfect. It would be like a cool 60 degrees out, not too hot, not too cold. In 1987, you had a couple good bands.
What bands?
White Snake had their fucking hit, Here I Go Again, was top of the charts. It was number 8. You had
The top of the chart, number 8.
No, I love fucking
So wait,
White Snake.
what else do they sing?
Is This Love? All their songs, dude. There's a couple.
So you would,
Quit naming power ballads.
so
Name a
you're
single.
so you're listening to power ballads on the beach in San Diego.
Let me clarify why I love the 80s.
You haven't clarified shit.
It was the Fuck you.
You said I'm clarifying 10 times. We've ended up in 3 different locations with 3 different bands with no one.
I'm going to Starlight.
I'm going to take a page out of your book, and you're out of your fucking mind right now. Let me talk. I will say that there are so many power ballads that I was influenced by growing up.
What did it influence you to be?
Who I am today, man. the person that I am, the music that I like.
All right then.
Okay.
Go ahead, John.
So you would go to 1987.
We talked about...
I don't really want to make fun of Bon Jovi because I know you love him so much. So we're just going to go back to Joe's list for a second. So I will agree and argue that most of them on your list are classics. The Bright Eyes I don't want to talk about too much today because I think we could talk about that for an hour at least, and maybe we will.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Aeroplane. Aeroplane is one of those records that everybody hears. Whenever you hear it, you love it for your own personal reasons. Like, after a while, the music doesn't even matter. It becomes like a personal experience. You know what I mean? Like a personal diary of emotions in some way. Or at least for me, anyway. And I remember reading an article back when Jeff just started playing shows again. And there's the writer, like, they went to the show in Brooklyn or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And overhearing people talking about how special this is to them. And when I discovered Neutral Milk Hotel. And they were talking like it was theirs or something. And the author was talking about how it's special to everyone. You know, like, everybody has that story. Or everybody made that connection, or otherwise they wouldn't be at that show. You know what I mean? Like, people didn't go there for an experience or just to say that they were there or to be seen. They went there for a reason. They went there to connect to that again. And I agree with that. So, like,
me too.
What does it mean to you? Or, like, why is it special to you? Or if you have, like, a little anecdote story like that, like, why? I mean, I'm not surprised that it's so high.
I think.
Why is it so high?
So when I put these together, it was important to me that I looked, and we've talked about this stuff in the past about how I look at albums as I believe that the whole album is a work of art. And if I didn't have such a man crush on Connor, and I didn't have such a nostalgic, like, high school best time of my life, Bright Eyes kind of thing going on, I would have this number one because I think that it's the most beautiful composition that I've ever heard. Personally, I saw him. I think a little bit of it was maybe a lot, maybe a little bit. But so he put this out in what, 97, or they did. I guess it's a band.
Yeah, 97.
97.
I mean, yeah, it's a band,
and
he's a songwriter.
Right. It's basically Jeff and it's like the same kind of thing. But so then he disappeared, you know? And he was kind of like this myth and this legend. And just the poetry of the lyrics just blows my mind. It's like his dreams, and you could like feel like you're in his dreams. And
right.
It's like you can picture everything, but at the same time, it doesn't make any sense. Like, how can you picture this? But you could feel it with his voice. Like, it feels like it flows through me. And
yeah, he's like he's making you feel the story rather than tell you a story. I mean, like this, like you're talking about the images. I don't know about you because maybe it's just the time when I got into it, but like this is like definitely a wintertime album. Like it feels gray, it feels dark, but not like just feels. Yeah,
it's
like
hard to listen. I mean, I wouldn't pick it out to listen like on a 70-degree night in the summer.
No, you have to be like, yeah, this is like for driving around on your own or something. You know?
I need to be. I don't even want to I don't want to waste it. You know?
Oh, yeah.
I want to be in the zone if I listen to this CD. Like, I can't listen to it at work because I don't want to be like typing something and going between doing whatever. If I'm going to listen to the CD, I don't want to waste 1 second of the music. And
and I agree.
I don't know why. It's hard. I mean, music is the kind of thing where it touches you, but you don't know why or how to explain it or why it makes you feel the way you do, but it just does.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. Like what you guys are talking about, it's fucking weird, but that's how I feel about like the '80s music. To me, it's like
good. I mean, it's definitely subjective.
And it touches you somewhere inside, like it's a nostalgic thing, and you connect to it.
I think I connect more now to like the music that I started to listen to, but whenever I grew up through like junior high school and high school, I kind of lost it a little bit. But now that I'm older, I go back to it. It's just like, man, it's like it never left me. And
right. You still have that connection to it.
But we're talking about like for me to like listen to it, like I just got to either be driving or I had a bad day and I turn on the radio and not going to hear it, so I throw in the CD and it's just like it's like it never left.
Music's
You're not going to hear 80s music on the radio in Pittsburgh?
music's therapeutic tendencies, or what is the word I want? They're
Characteristic?
yeah, like it's so valuable. You could,
Right.
I mean, if you could have the worst day in the world. I remember obviously I was a shit fucking kid, and I remember my mom always being yelling at me or something, and I just remember like my older cousin like, put on the music, man, it'll calm you down, and he's like, put it on, just listen to it, just stop. Like, I wish that like I could talk my girlfriend into stop fighting. Let's just listen to a couple songs.
Yeah.
Chill out,
Yeah.
and then come revisit this argument in 10 minutes.
Okay. All right. So Aeroplane. Yeah. I mean, it's special to everybody, and like those images, it's like a magical place, but like.
And that's,
weird
and I
place.
will say it here. I put a lot of stuff up. I put these all on Facebook, and I was just fucking around, because who really gives a fuck in the end? But I'll probably tomorrow will be Aeroplane. So by the time anyone hears it, 2 and 1 will be out. But if anybody might decide to possibly listen to something that they haven't heard before, because I happen to say that it's a good idea, I strongly, strongly suggest listening to that album, In the Aeroplane Over the Sea by Nutrimilk Hotel.
Third Eye Blind also made the cut, clocking in at number 6. That's too low for you, though, right, Jay?
I love that, man.
You still trying to start that 90s cover band?
I'm always trying to be an aspiring drummer for a 90s cover band, man.
Aspiring drummer.
If I could play anything, I'd be there with you.
I'm inspiring because it hasn't happened yet.
I heard the Gin Blossoms have played at some bar in Cranberry.
Oh,
I think
God.
it was this week.
Are
I
they
didn't
from
go.
Pittsburgh?
I love Gin Blossoms, actually.
Who? What are they?
Gin Blossoms. I love them. They're like one of my, I wouldn't say they're my favorite band, but out of that era, that was probably one of my
Jay, you'll say anyone's your favorite band. Whatever we're talking about is your favorite band.
You know what? I think you almost say the same thing because you're so politically correct about your music at times. And that's okay because
What are you talking about? I'm ranking them.
You like music probably, you know more music about this general generation and the bands that you like, but I'm saying I know just as much music as maybe you do because...
Do you want to measure our dicks?
If you want your girlfriend to be the judge.
Okay.
I don't know what you're saying. Why are you trying? What?
I just answered your question.
All right. Well,
All
maybe
right,
I'll bring her
let's
over
continue.
and we'll videotape it.
We can do that.
All right, let's fuck.
Okay.
Let's just have butt sex, Jay. How do you feel about that?
Hey, man, whatever floats your boat. I'm all for it. I'm your friend. That's what you like.
Oh,
That's
man,
what
I
you
didn't
like.
expect
Dude,
it.
I'm your friend. If that's what you like. What
Thank
the
you.
fuck are you talking about?
Well, my brother's gay, so I mean, it's
Maybe
not-
it's genetic.
this is not a subject I'm not like unfamiliar with. So if that's how you want your coming out to be, man, I support you.
I'll be coming out all over your
He
butt.
wants his coming out. Never mind.
Coming
Never
out
mind. I'm just
on your
confused.
butt.
Okay. Anyway, let's jump to wild card. You want to do the wild cards?
Yeah, let's do
Since
the wild
we're
card.
already in.
Since we're butt fucking Jay,
All right, wild card, bitches.
you're the bottom.
In this segment, Joe gets to ask Jay one question, anything he wants, and Jay will answer honestly, hopefully without taking an hour to come up with a response. Just off the top of your head. After that, Jay, you get to ask Joe a question, anything you want, and Joe responds the same way. I will participate.
You're the fucking
if I feel like
referee.
it. I'm the referee.
It sounds like it sounds like we're going to do a cage match.
Okay. So, Joe, do you have your wild card question?
Yeah, do you want me to go first, or Jay, do you want to go? Does it matter?
Who wants to go first? Jay, would you rather go first or second since you're the guest? You get to choose.
Jeff can go first.
Okay, Joe.
All right. I mean, dude, I'm not trying to fuck. I was just kidding about you being gay, Jay.
I was.
All right.
I was.
Go ahead. You were what?
No, I said same with you. I just was throwing it out there. If you do have gay
You're up for
tendencies, it's okay. He's got gay tendencies. It's okay.
Thanks. I know it's okay, dude.
I can be your life coach.
What? All right. Jay, if you were elected president, and you knew through premonition, like Abe Lincoln, or maybe you were on Long Island Medium or something, and you knew you would be shot and killed one day after you were inaugurated president. You only have 24 hours, and with the legal system, we all know how it gets to be a clusterfuck. So you only have time to get one law passed. What law would it be?
I'd send people like you back to Africa. That couldn't have been. I don't know if that could have been better or worse. I don't know what. That's okay.
All right, thank you. So,
Wild card.
do you think that would be like a lot of people, or just like me,
Or just him? What do you think?
I don't know, man. What do you think?
There's a good possibility
That what?
that there's a lot of people taking ferries and airplanes.
All right then, airplanes. That was nice of you.
You're okay, Jay. Your wild card question.
I was a little more sensitive. I was actually kind of going on tonight's topic.
Okay.
And this is it's kind of like a two-part question. I'm going to let Joe answer the first question, and after he's done answering, I'm going to go into the second one.
Okay, so you have a follow-up.
Yeah. Okay. So, Crowley, let's say from this point forth, from 2013 and on, if you were to make a technological breakthrough in science, what would you research, and what good to mankind would it do?
What would I do personally? If I had any skill.
If
I had any.
If anything that we talked about tonight, like if you were to make a technological advanced breakthrough in any type of science that you are passionate about, what would you research and how would it benefit mankind?
Obviously, I don't have these skills that would make me provide something like that. But if I did have those skills, I would like to study genealogy. I think that if you could study genealogy, maybe even DNA, stem cell research.
Right.
What good would that do? It could help cure diseases. It could help regrow organs and all that good stuff to help cure disease.
I think you and I can both agree on that.
All right, and the follow-up?
What's your follow-up?
So, if this was to happen, and we're talking like you being 28 from now, it doesn't matter, like, till the end of your life. If someone was to write the story of your life, basically a biography of your life, who would write and direct your movie?
Who would write and direct my movie? That's a good question. Do I have to pick a right?
It could be anything. It could be any of your favorite directors. It could be any of your whoever. It doesn't matter.
It's a good question. I don't really like that many authors that are still alive. Can I pick people that are dead?
It could be. It doesn't even have to be an author. It could be a script writer. It could be a director.
Dude, I don't know any script writers.
Okay.
I would pick, if I could pick anyone, I would pick Henry Miller.
Yeah.
And I would have fucking Alexander Payne direct it.
Who would play your role?
Who would play my role?
Who would be you?
Whew.
And the last question after following this, what would you name the movie?
Fucking A, dude. Who would play me? I don't know, man. There would have to be more than one because I would have to be young.
Right.
Is it going through my whole life?
It could be from basically however you want it to be. But pretty much on the question, it'd be from your mid-20s up until, let's just say, 70.
All right. I would do...
It's kind of got like a Benjamin Button / Forrest Gump kind of theme to it.
Yeah, I see what you're going at. I see what you're doing here. Who do I like? Oh, cunt. I guess I would do Gosling. Not because I'm that good looking, but because he's a good actor. And then as I got older, I would be Clive Owen.
Okay.
What would it be called?
What would you name the movie?
Dude.
Depends if he cured cancer.
Yeah. Poppin' AIDS in Jay's butt.